What is up, Janksters? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today I want to talk about two fundamental ways to modify your creatures on the board, and those are auras and equipment. And the reason that I want to talk about them both is because they are very similar, but they have a couple of key differences between them. So we're going to start with auras. Auras are enchantments that can enchant or become attached to different permanent types. The most common is enchant creature, but there are some that can enchant lands, enchant artifacts, and other permanents on the board. The one example that I want to use today is Holy Strength. This is just a very straightforward aura, and it is an aura for one that gives the enchanted creature +1/+2. It means that if I put this on a 1/1, I cast Holy Strength, targeting my 1/1. When Holy Strength resolves and enters the battlefield, it becomes attached to that 1/1, and that 1/1 now becomes a 2/3 for as long as Holy Strength remains attached to it. Now, my opponent can use disenchant style effects to destroy Holy Strength, making my creature back to a 1/1. Also, if they use an effect to destroy the 1/1, the creature itself, Holy Strength will go to my graveyard alongside that creature. And that's the way auras work. So that's very, very important to note. Another note on auras: if you are looking at older printings of cards, they may not say the word aura on them. Auras were previously known as enchant creature or enchant land or enchant artifact. So you may see older printings that say enchant creature on them. Those are auras. They function exactly the same. And as you can see here, we even have Holy Strength, which was originally printed as an enchant creature that has since been updated to aura, which is just an updated verbiage that they use for the game. So that's important to know as you're looking at your older cards. Now, with equipment, it functions similarly, but with some key differences. And the example that I want to look at is just a bread and butter equipment that is near and dear to my heart, and that is Bone Splitter. Bone Splitter is an equipment that only costs 1 to play. However, with an aura, when you play it, you choose a target and it comes into play attached to that target. With Bone Splitter, or any equipment for that matter, when you play it for its cost, you do not select a target. It simply enters the battlefield. And it is now an artifact that is sitting on the battlefield. Now, any ability that can destroy an artifact can deal with equipment. Just in the same way that any effect that can deal with an enchantment can deal with an aura. So with Bone Splitter, for example, again, it just sits there on the battlefield. Now, in order to get the benefit, in this case, +2/+0, we need to attach it or equip it to a creature. And by doing that, we pay the equip cost. When we pay the equip cost, this is activating an ability of the card. And when we activate that ability, we then choose a target. When the ability resolves, Bone Splitter becomes attached to that target. And once it's attached, it functions very similarly to an aura in that it being present is going to modify our creature. It's that simple. So we have the same 1/1 that we used in our previous example. We attach a Bone Splitter to it, all of a sudden it becomes a 3/1. That's a creature you need to worry about in combat all of a sudden, which is pretty great. And that's one of the nice things about Bone Splitter. Now, a couple key differences there. If Bone Splitter is attached and our opponent blows up Bone Splitter with some kind of shatter effect, some kind of destroy artifact effect, Bone Splitter's gone, the buff is gone, but our creature remains. If they use a kill spell or the creature dies in combat and get rid of the creature, Bone Splitter remains, or any equipment does remain on the battlefield. So that is the key difference between an aura and an equipment. With equipment, when the creature dies, the equipment sticks around. Basically, they drop their weapon and somebody else can pick it up and keep going. And so you can pay the equip cost and equip it to another creature. Also, if it's on one creature but you want to move it from one to another without the creature dying, you are allowed to do that simply by paying the equip cost and choosing a new target for it. Equipping, it doesn't care whether or not the equipment is attached to a creature in order to pay the equip cost and attach it to a creature. It's also noteworthy that there are a number of effects out there that modify equip costs. Also, anything that says an activated ability of an artifact costs less will make an equip cost less. That's good to know. There are some other effects out there like Brunor Battlehammer or Sigarda's Aid that make equip costs free. That can be very, very valuable in certain situations, especially when you're using cards that have high equip costs. That's important to keep in mind. So, but at the end of the day, the key difference between an aura and an equipment is that Well, one's an enchantment, one's an artifact. That's surprisingly relevant. If you're a newer player, it might feel like artifacts and enchantments are very, very similar. And they are in many ways, but the payoffs for artifacts and enchantments and the removal for artifacts and enchantments are very distinct and very different. So there is, the difference does matter, I assure you. So it is worthwhile to keep note of that. So that's one detail, but the other one is if a creature that is attached to one of these dies, if an equipment is attached to that creature, the equipment stays on the battlefield. If an aura is attached to that creature, the aura goes to the graveyard alongside the creature. They are intrinsically linked. They are attached forever. Also, there are very few effects in Magic that can move an aura. They do exist, but there are like maybe 3 cards that can do it. So don't worry about it too. And they're all older. That's not a thing that happens very often. 3 may be a little hyperbolic, but there are very few. There are very few cards that can move auras around, but it does happen. Meanwhile, equipment moves around all the time. You know, people swap weapons or armor, even in not quite mid-combat often, but sometimes if you have certain effects that can do that. So in any event, that is to say, equipment and auras feel very, very similar, but function in such fundamentally different ways. Once they're in play, you will definitely see a difference. To the point where it's oftentimes different colors that want to take advantage of these, even though auras are available in pretty much every color. They vary in their functions, but aura is an evergreen type, as our equipment. It's just absolutely everywhere, and you'll see a lot of colorless equipment as well because they are artifacts after all. But you will see a lot of colored equipment these days too. In any event, that's been a fundamental top, it's 10,000 foot view at equipments and auras. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit that subscribe button below. It makes a tremendous difference. You can also catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/hamhocks42. If you have any questions, or you would like to see other videos on specific topics, please let me know in either the comments or in my chat. I'd appreciate it very, very much. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.